The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi guys, and welcome to Big Profits from Player Props. I'm Daniel, the Customer Success Manager here at Champion Bets, and on the line with me we've got our head analyst and guru, Brett, who's the brains trust behind our NBA specials and Platinum, AFL specials and Platinum, NRL specials and Platinum packages. Brett, how are you?
G'day Daniel, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Mate, I'll throw over to you.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers, Daniel. So we've just got a light structure to follow here for the next half an hour. So let's just crack into it. So first of all, something about myself. I've been in the sports betting game for 7 years. I never was a recreational punter. Even from day one, I approached this as a business. And yeah, I can basically say that this has been a serious endeavour from the first moment. Prior to that, spent far too long at university. I got a number of degrees, 2 undergrads and a postgrad, masters in applied stats, and that's the uni background. Got together with some partners 7 years ago, and then we sort of formed what we now call a small betting syndicate. You could say that I head up the syndicate. I get to sort of call the shots on strategy, long-term strategy, where we go to next, what new opportunities we sort of bring in, and then I've got 2 business partners, and then there's a couple of traders, a few beards, guys that work at the terminals, and now, as of a couple of weeks ago, we've got an offshore programming team as well, working on various menial coding tasks. So there's probably about a total head count of 10. And we have our 4 major sports that we've really focused on, and I'd say that our core advantage comes from using hardcore data science. We're not old school handicappers in the slightest. I've never been the one to watch a game of football and start to think that I've got some sort of unique edge on the market from some esoteric, really kind of nebulous kind of skill at trying to watch games. So I've never brought that to the table. It's all hard numbers. It's all hard analysis. It's the creation of a stream of various models that always combine to generate the best number possible. So that's where we think our core edge comes from. Now, in terms of sports that we cover, as you mentioned, Daniel, we've been working with you guys for about 18 months now, and we've covered 3 sports successfully. We've done the NFL, which did about 10% with the NFL specials. We did the AFL last year, which again did about 10% on the AFL specials. We had an invite-only AFL Platinum, which I can show now. This was that's the reference sheet that people get. These were the results. So we did 6.5% over the whole season across 6,500 bets. So that was a fairly successful season at extremely high volumes, and I have every expectation of starting from where we sort of cracked on with around 10, because we made some basic adjustments around this time, and those very basic adjustments I think powered where we went to going forward in time. So we'll monitor those sort of post-processing biases this season and be much earlier in the take with having to adjust models. So I'm very confident that we should be able to achieve actually better results than what we did last year with the AFL Platinum, and I've got every expectation of achieving the same with the NRL Platinum. Also, a very big area for us with Champion is the NBA. This is what any specials product looks like. So you guys will always receive a bet matrix, and that bet matrix will have a number of options in order for you to get down at multiple outlets or if you're already sort of banned or constrained at certain outlets, you've still got the ability to find an out for yourself. And as you can see, this is another successful specials package, doing 20% so far this season. And then we've got a private invite only package as well that's pumped out something like 15,000 or 14,000 bets this season at 8%, 8.5%, and that's backing up from last year where we pumped out about 8,000 or 9,000 player bets at about 8.5% as well. Now, one thing I want to emphasise is that we're not just about player bets. This is not just about player betting. We have modelled the whole board in 4 major sports, and the reason why we've done that is, again, it sort of comes back to our philosophy on advantage and what you should be doing given your bankroll size. So, given our funds under management isn't all that high, I'd say, relative to larger syndicates, we want to consistently grow, and we need to, and we should be using our size to our advantage, because we are still small and quite agile. So we should be focusing on markets that are not a truly market-driven process. So rather than trying to fight some market at close in the AFL league or baskets, which, mind you, we still do. Like, we still have our own main market trading, and that's especially for the Australian sports that we will fight the market at close. But ultimately, we are looking to get into situations where it's model versus model. I want to take on some bookmakers model that's not driven, whose prices are not driven by a true market. So anything like, play A versus play B tries, like it's normally a 3-way market with league, 2-way market with the AFL. That's just me versus the model, or that's just our model versus their model. And the beauty of being a bettor rather than a bookmaker is that you always play late position. Sort of using a poker analogy, I'm playing heads up poker, and given that I have the right to say when I bet, I'm basically always calling the shots. They're reacting to me, so I'm in a very advantageous position, not having to market make, not having to basically be sniped on any weakness that I have. And mind you, coming from some sort of experience in market making, it is I don't envy what these guys have to do. It's a very difficult job having to post numbers and post markets and basically have to stick to your prices the whole time. So they have a really unenviable spot. But again, like, this is all about business and making money. So I'm gonna find and exploit advantages where I can see it. And in the whole kind of model versus model situation, I have every intention to exploit what we've created, and it seems to be working pretty well so far, and we've got every intention of continuing on with that. So that's essentially a sort of ramble on about how we think about sports investment given our size, what we're doing at the moment, how we're working with Champion, and I think from here we can crack on with what you should expect. So, given that the NRL is basically the first cab off the rank with the Australian sports, let's talk about the NRL. So, we've got two packages. The first package is the NRL Specials package, which again will be delivered in this format. You can expect around 400 bets a year, and it's going to be roughly 2 to 3 bets a game in this format. You will essentially receive an email at certain fixed time slots throughout the weekend. So if there's night games, it'll be a 5:30 release, and if it's a afternoon game, it'll more than likely be a 2:30 release or a 12:30 release, or potentially even earlier if we have a day game in Z. But there's always going to be fixed time slots that you'll be made aware of with the specials package. Then we have a Platinum package with the NRL. All members will always receive a bet list, which will kind of look like this. So you'll basically you'll receive not a long list, but a list that's probably larger than what you'll get with the NRL specials. A normal Friday night game might have 20 bets each, and your Saturday release might have 50, 60, 70 bets. So there's quite a lot of action. We've committed to at least releasing 2,500 bets per season. I would say that that's a very conservative estimate of how we end up. I think we committed ourselves to about 2,500 bets with the AFL, and we ended up with 6,500 bets. So I think we're being pretty conservative here, and there's going to be every expectation of us exceeding that bet count, which is always advantageous to the bettor, given that we're trying to dilute our risk with finding as many different markets as possible throughout the course of the weekend and course of the season. So that's what Platinum bettors can expect, in addition to getting the full reference information that drives our pricing solution. So Platinum members also get player sheets, so full player sheets. So every single metric that is important to anyone, whether it be consultancy or punting, is all in the one sheet here. As you can see, we've got over 20 metrics that are projected. We aggregate the various metrics to come up with our fantasy points figure. So you can see how that fantasy points figure is baked in, as opposed to competitors who I've never seen a competitor. So there are daily fantasy providers out there. Not one of them are actually showing you the full metrics, because what I believe is going on is that they're basically directly modeling fantasy points as their own, as their sort of one target, whereas we actually break down into the game itself, break down into game metrics, and then aggregate our fantasy points at the end, as it should be. We also have some draft stars price metrics as well. So if you're playing on draft stars or any other daily fantasy exchange, you can have the ability to see what we believe to be the cheapest or the priciest options for that game. We also have some pretty detailed meter game info. So as you can see here, we project the full box score for each and every game. So every single stat is forecast, and that actually feeds that flows downstream to the player level. So it's a quite a tight sort of weaving together of many different models at multiple layers to form some rock solid player projections. Coming back to this, we also have game scripts. So we've modeled the game down into 20-minute blocks, and we've also modeled, we basically separated the game and modeled game pace directly, i.e. total match points, and game supremacy as well, which feeds back into head-to-head and line markets. So you will basically get to see our pre-game view of what we call our game script, and that game script basically powers a whole variety of different sub-game props that we attack pre-game, and it also guides our trading in play. So if things are going against us with our pre-game position, then we can sort of help to shape what we do in play by looking at our game script, basically looking at what's happening on the screen, and then thinking about our pre-game position. We also enter new positions in play as well. So we'll again sort of be guided by our game script to see whether there's some kind of opportunity in play to enter and build new positions. So that's essentially what the NRL Platinum package is. The AFL Platinum, once it gets released, will be the same thing. you'll receive a full breakdown of stat lines for every single player. You'll get the draft stars, pricing metrics again. We also model Supercoach points as well for any Supercoach leagues or markets or like actual betting markets that involve Supercoach. We obviously aggregate our stat lines to find our dream team points. And then, as per what we can see here, we have our game scripts shown for the AFL as well, and I'll add my notes in there as well. So you guys will sort of be able to see exactly how we think of the game, and yeah, hopefully that will help you trade your own positions pre-game going to in-game, and yeah, find new in-game opportunities.
Brett, our NBA Platinum package is some ridiculous amount, over 850 units up on the season so far to date. NBA Specials up 20% PAT. What can our clients expect? I know it's a bit of a how long's a bit of rope question, but how much can our clients expect to make over the course of the season with these packages?
Okay. Let's go to the sport where we actually have some exposed form on. So with the AFL, we did 6.5% with the Platinum package, and that was across the whole season. I can tell you right now that I fully expect to start like this from round 10 going up. I made some mistakes. I didn't see some biases early, and it took me too long to adjust. I should expect to adjust very, very quickly if I ever see any sort of output biases again. So given that I'm now aware of that, I'm going to be on top of that, and I have every intention of basically achieving 10% across at least 5,000 bets next season. So that's what I'm expecting with the AFL Platinum. I'm expecting about 7 to 8% with the NRL Platinum across 2,500 bets. But again, that's a very conservative estimate of bet count. I think we could even maybe double that bet count once we get into the groove of things. With both of the basic packages with a 400 bet count per season, I'd expect something similar, because basically we are drawing from the same sample pool that powers our Platinum packages. So I'd expect long-term win rates of 8 to 10% on both the AFL and NRL specials.
Fantastic. Mate, we had a lot of questions at the webinar that we did Wednesday night, obviously in regards to Pinnacle and preferred bookies to use moving forward, and just give us a few of your ideas and ways to combat Pinnacle going down in Australia.
Okay, so I think the most simplest course of action would be to find somebody in some jurisdiction that you trust, that you could use their accounts. Barring that, I'm doing some research at the moment in terms of offshore bet aggregators. So there are entities offshore that actually handle huge amounts of turnover, and the reason why they do that is because they have a bet execution technology that they initially made for themselves, but they've kind of spun off that technology into an actual business, and that business is helping elite or generally elite advantage players and outfits moving large amounts of volume in various global markets. So what I'm looking to find out at the moment, and I've put my feelers out overseas and speaking to a few people, I'm trying to find an aggregator that will connect to these offshore markets. So basically, what happened is that you would sign up to an aggregator. That would kind of be your online wallet, and so you'd have one account with this aggregator, and then you would place a bet execution order with the aggregator, and then that aggregator would use its technology, go to its outs, as in go to Pinnacle, go to the exchanges, and would fill the order as best as it could. So it basically does all the hard work for you of searching for outs, finding the best price. All this all this kind of work's been done. It's been done for a long time. It's just that given that we're quite isolated in this country and we're trading sports that in global terms don't really sort of come on the radar. These offshore outfits who generally cater for global sports haven't really serviced Australian sports properly in terms of the bet aggregation. So I'm looking to find out whether we can either find somebody that already does it, or basically convince a bet aggregator to do some coding to link their back end to these Australian markets. So once I have that information, I will get back to you guys, because you know what, I have every interest in keeping this market liquid, because I'm still punting into these lines at close. We're still basically betting into Australian markets at close. So I have every interest in bringing volume to these markets. So hence the reason why I'm going to help you guys out, because I want to keep these markets liquid. So you know, we have retail action that still feels like it wants to bet, because there's some volume there to be had. So yeah, leave that to me, and I'll get back to you guys as to how we can move from here.
No worries, but in the meantime, just use the corporates that are readily available to you.
I would say, yeah. So look, if you are a serious player, and you would actually know if you're a serious player, this isn't a problem to us. I'm going to be taken care of anyway with offshore accounts. It's just that stratum of client, and I've no doubt that there are many clients in your client base that are like this. Those guys that understand what edge and advantage is all about, but can't really go to the extent of trying to put in the time and effort to find offshore outlets and such. It's that stratum of player that's going to be most affected by these changes in laws. So look, what these guys are going to have to do, and I think they know what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to line shop or price shop even more, and be very price sensitive and shop as best as they can, but also think about the kind of volumes that they can get on. Like if some player can only get on for $300-400 at 194, then like that might be not really enough for some players. Whereas if you can always go to the TAB and find 191 for 5K, then it might be worthwhile. So always think about your price, and always think about how much volume you can get on with that out.
Guys, NRL specials, NRL Platinum, they're out now. AFL specials, AFL Platinum will be launched in the next week or to 2 weeks. Brett, thank you for your time.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
No worries.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I've
learned heaps speaking to you over the course of the last 2 webinars. Guys, get in touch. If not, I'll probably call you, but these guys make money, and it's a lot of fun. All right. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. See ya.